did you see the AFTV interview from yesterday about Emery versus Arteta? You know what's so funny, right? I was just at Sharky's place with Faisal, Hasib, Rin, and Sharky's cousin AV, and we were just having this conversation. And it was like basically, who's the second best manager in the league between Emery and Arteta? And obviously the AFTV clip is kind of Robbie arguing in Arteta's defense and the other guy arguing in Emery's defense. And we kind of carried that I mean, I was just kind of observing. I was just laughing because if you guys know Sharky's cousin AV, that guy is the funniest yapper I've ever seen in my life. He's so loud, man. And he's arguing against Rin, who's like anti-Arsenal, even though he's an Arsenal fan. It was so weird. If I was to give my quick opinion, though, it's difficult, right? In terms of what they've done, like Arteta, what he's done to basically return Arsenal from obscurity back into like a massive club capable of challenging for the league consistently, I think it deserves so much credit. And it's something Emery wasn't able to do at the exact same club. So in that sense, you have to give Arteta a lot of credit. However, I think people also forget the fact that Emery took over what is, in my opinion, an impossible job. It was an impossible job replacing Fergie immediately. It was an impossible job replacing Wenger immediately. And let's see how Slot does replacing Klopp immediately. I think it's a very tough job. What Emery has also done post-Arsenal, like no doubt about it, Emery flopped at Arsenal. Emery deserved to be sacked by Arsenal. And Arsenal have been better under Arteta. Arteta has done a much better job at Arsenal than Emery did. And they were right to kind of make that decision. But also, Emery is not defined by his time at Arsenal. And it's something I keep saying, right? Like, you can think Emery is an amazing coach without bringing down Arteta. And it's proven by what Emery has done post-Arsenal. Taking Villarreal to Europa League champions, beating Arsenal and United on the way there. Then taking Villarreal past Juventus and Bayern Munich into the Champions League semifinals. An incredible job. He then goes to Aston Villa, who were 18th in the league when he was hired. In his first season, in the time that he was there in that year, they were the third best placed team in the league basically on form. But because the whole season consisted of some of the time under Gerrard, they finished 8th. Which still got them into the Conference League. So from 18th to 8th in a year. And then a season after that got them into the Champions League. So in basically a season and a half at Villa, he took them from 18th to the Champions League. It's incredible. That's without even talking about what he did in the Europa League at Sevilla. Crazy. So Emery deserves a lot of credit. And I think if you want to say, okay, who's the best managers in the league based on resume, then yes, it's Emery. But if you ask me who's the best manager in the league in terms of their style of play being conducive to winning football, Arteta for me is the second best manager in the league. I think so. And it's similar to why I thought Arteta was the second best manager in the league, even when Klopp was there last year. I just felt like in 2024, Arteta's methods and Arteta's coaching was more conducive to winning over a 38-game campaign than Klopp was in 2024. Now, that's not to say that in knockout football, Arteta can match Emery or that Arteta will win as much as Emery does this year. And in a sense, some might argue that that makes Emery the better manager. If that's how you view football, fair enough. But I think over a 38-game campaign, which manager's footballing style is the most conducive to winning football matches? In the Premier League, I believe first it's Pep Guardiola. And I still believe second it's Mikel Arteta. I do think so. That's not to say, do I think Arteta would be able to do what Emery did at Villa? I don't know. Maybe not. It's entirely possible that Arteta could go to Aston Villa and absolutely flop. It's possible. But here's another thing, right? Every job is different. Some jobs are good for some managers. Some jobs are great for other managers. Moyes flopped at Man United. In fact, every manager post-Fergie has basically flopped at Man United. You could make the argument, again, this is based on your opinion, but some people would argue that Ole's tenure at Man United was better than Mourinho's time at Man United. Some people would argue that. Some people would also argue the opposite. But if you believe that Ole's time at Man United was better than Mourinho's, that doesn't necessarily mean that Ole's a better manager than Mourinho, or vice versa. It's just that the position Man United were in at the time was more fit for a guy like Ole to come in and kind of take over and be more successful. That's just the case. Now, would Ole have ever done what Mourinho did at those other clubs? Hell no. But that's just one job. That's just one club. And that's the way I view everything, to be honest with you, right? There are some managers that are, like, look at Ancelotti. For me, Ancelotti is a perfect example, right? Ancelotti is one of the most ruthless managers that club football has ever seen. He is the owner of the Champions League football. Quite simply. League campaign, not as great, but still won everywhere he went. He went to go coach Napoli and he went to go coach Everton. And quite frankly, he pretty much didn't succeed at either of those clubs. He did okay at Everton, to be fair, but look, he didn't take Everton to the Champions League, for example. That doesn't mean he couldn't go back to Real Madrid and win the Champions League twice. It just simply means that Ancelotti's style of management is better equipped to take over bigger powerhouses of clubs with bigger names and bigger stars and create successful formulas with those kinds of players. Maybe a club like Everton, someone else is better equipped to take over them and do a better job. That doesn't mean they're a better manager than Ancelotti. I hope what I'm saying kind of makes sense here, right? So if you ask me, I think Arteta is the better manager than Unai Emery. The better manager, who is the more successful manager with a better resume and better body of work, that's Unai Emery. But I think right now, if your club was looking for a new manager, you would rather your team hired Mikel Arteta than Unai Emery. And in my opinion, that's the best way to look at football. If both those guys were available right now and your team was looking for a manager, would you rather your team hire Mikel Arteta or hire Unai Emery? In my opinion, the answer is pretty clear. As much as I respect Unai Emery, I think Unai Emery is massively disrespected by some people. And I'm very happy to see the way he's repaired his reputation post-Arsenal and post-PSG because he's a top gaffer. But if my team was looking for a manager and both Arteta and Unai Emery were they're available for me to hire, respect to Emery's resume and respect to what Emery has done post and before Arsenal. But I'm taking Arteta.